Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the massive colony ship New Horizon, watching the stars through the reinforced windows. Behind her, 10 billion humans lived in the ship's vast sections. Families with children, elderly couples, young adults ready to start new lives. They were humanity's first attempt to spread beyond Earth, heading to build a new world around Proxima Centauri. The journey had taken 3 years. Everyone was excited. They could see their new sun growing brighter each day. In just 2 more weeks, they would arrive at their new home. Children pressed their faces against viewing windows, asking their parents about the new world they would live on. Sarah smiled as she watched a group of kids run past her in the corridor. Their laughter echoed through the ship. These children would be the first generation born on 2 worlds. They carried humanity's future with them. Then the alarms started screaming. "Captain," Lieutenant Davis called from his station. Multiple contacts approaching fast. "They're huge." Sarah rushed to the main screen. 12 massive ships surrounded them, each one bigger than New Horizon. They looked like nothing humans had ever built. Sharp edges, dark metal, and glowing energy weapons pointed directly at the colony ship. "This is Admiral Zethkar of the Galactic Hegemony." A voice spoke in perfect English through the communication system. The screen showed a creature that looked like a giant lizard wearing military armor. Its yellow eyes were cold and cruel. "You will stop your engines and prepare to be boarded." Sarah's hands shook as she activated the ship's communication system. "This is Captain Chen of the Earth vessel New Horizon. We are peaceful colonists. We mean no harm to anyone." The alien laughed. It was a horrible sound that made everyone on the bridge step back. "Harm? You primitive creatures think you can choose whether to cause harm? You exist in our galaxy without permission? That is harm enough." "We didn't know this space belonged to anyone," Sarah said. "We're willing to talk and find a peaceful solution." "Talk?" Zethkar's tongue flicked out between sharp teeth. "The time for talk ended when your species left your world without our permission. For 1,000 years, the hegemony has ruled this galaxy. 12 species serve under our command. You will be the 13th or you will die." Sarah felt her heart racing. 10 billion people counted on her to keep them safe. "What do you want from us?" "Simple. Your species will surrender completely. You will return to your world and never leave it again without our permission. Your people will be classified as Tier 9 primitives. You will have no rights, no voice, no freedom. You will serve when we command and die when we choose." The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the screen in horror. Sarah thought of all the families sleeping in their beds below, children dreaming of their new world, parents planning their new lives. "And if we refuse?" Sarah asked. Zethkar smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Then I will show the galaxy what happens to species that defy the hegemony. I will kill every human on this ship. I will broadcast their deaths across 12 star systems. Every species will watch and remember why they obey us." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment. She thought of Earth so far away. She thought of the United Nations waiting for their message that they had arrived safely. She thought of her own daughter back on Earth just starting college. "I need time to contact Earth," she said. "You have 1 hour," Zethkar replied. "Choose quickly. Surrender or die. There is no third option." The communication ended. Sarah immediately sent an emergency message to Earth, knowing it would take over 4 years to reach home. 4 years too late for the people on this ship. 58 minutes later, Sarah stood before the communication screen again. Behind her, the ship's council had gathered. They had voted. Every single person chose the same thing. "Admiral Zethkar," Sarah said when the alien's face appeared again, "we have made our decision. Humanity will never surrender to you. We will never accept slavery. You can kill us, but you cannot break us." Zethkar's eyes gleamed with pleasure. "So be it. Begin the broadcast. Let the galaxy watch." What happened next would be remembered as the darkest day in human history. The alien ships began taking people from New Horizon in small groups. They broadcast everything across the galaxy for all species to see. The executions began with the ship's leaders. They forced Sarah and her officers to kneel before energy weapons. Each one spoke final words of defiance before the weapons fired. Sarah's last words were, "Earth will remember this. Earth will come for you." Then they moved to the civilian sections. Families were separated. Children cried for their parents. Parents begged to die before their children. The aliens showed no mercy. They killed the elderly first, then adults, then teenagers, then children. They made it slow. They made it painful. They wanted fear. Dr. James Wright, the colony's head scientist, managed to send one final message to Earth before they killed him. It contained everything they had learned about the aliens, their biology, their weapons, their ships. His last words over the communication system were, "Learn from this. Be ready, make them pay." The executions took 3 full days. The aliens were careful to keep some humans alive until the end, so Earth would receive the broadcast. They wanted humanity to see every death, every scream, every moment of terror. On the 3rd day, only a few hundred humans remained alive. Among them was 8-year-old Emma Rodriguez, who had been asking her parents about their new world just days before. Now she stood alone, surrounded by alien guards. When they brought her before the cameras, she did not cry. Instead, she looked directly into the broadcast and said, "My name is Emma Rodriguez. I am 8 years old. I am from Earth. Remember my name." The energy weapon fired. The last human to die was Medical Officer Lisa Park. Before they killed her, Admiral Zethkar spoke to the camera one final time. "Let this be a lesson to all species in the galaxy," he said. "The hegemony rules all. Obedience brings life. Defiance brings death. Choose wisely." The broadcast ended. 10 billion humans were dead. The New Horizon became a floating tomb, drifting silent through space. But the message Dr. Wright had sent was already traveling toward Earth at the speed of light. Along with it traveled the video of every death, every scream, every moment of humanity's darkest hour. Earth would receive this message in 4 years. When they did, everything would change. The aliens thought they had sent a message about the price of defiance. Instead, they had sent an invitation to war. In the cold silence of space, the New Horizon continued its journey toward Proxima Centauri. It would arrive at the system in 2 weeks, just as planned. But instead of carrying humanity's hopes and dreams, it now carried only death and the promise of terrible revenge. The galaxy had no idea what it had just awakened. 4 years and 7 months after the New Horizon left Earth, the message arrived. Dr. Elena Martinez was working late in the Deep Space Communication Center when the computers started screaming. Alert after alert filled her screens. The signal was coming from the direction of Proxima Centauri, exactly where the New Horizon should be arriving soon. "Finally," she whispered, reaching for the communication controls. The whole world was waiting for news from their first interstellar colony. Families wanted to hear from their loved ones. Scientists wanted data from the new world. Elena opened the first file. Dr. Wright's face appeared on her screen, but something was wrong. He looked terrified. Behind him, she could hear alarms and shouting. "If you're receiving this," Wright said quickly, "then we're probably all dead. We made contact with aliens. They call themselves the Galactic Hegemony. They've given us 1 hour to surrender completely or they'll kill everyone on the ship. Elena, if you're listening, tell my wife I love her. Tell Earth what we learned about them. Make them pay for what they're about to do." The file ended. Elena stared at the screen in shock. With shaking hands, she opened the second file. It was the broadcast. Elena watched in horror as Captain Chen and her officers were executed. She watched families torn apart. She listened to children crying for their parents. She saw 8-year-old Emma Rodriguez speak her final words before the energy weapon fired. Elena threw up. Then she called the president. Within 2 hours, President David Thompson sat in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by military leaders and scientists. They had all watched the broadcast. Some were crying. Others sat in stunned silence. A few paced the room like caged animals. 10 billion people, Thompson said quietly. They murdered 10 billion people and broadcast it like entertainment. General Marcus Stone slammed his fist on the table. "We have to respond. We can't let this stand." "Respond with what?" Admiral Patricia Hayes asked. "They have faster-than-light travel. They have energy weapons. They have 12 species under their control. We barely made it to Proxima Centauri. Then we build weapons," Stone said. "We build ships. We build whatever it takes." Thompson stood up and walked to the window. Outside, Washington, D.C. continued its normal evening routine. People walked to restaurants. Children played in parks. None of them knew yet that humanity was no longer alone in the universe. None of them knew about the massacre. "Dr. Martinez," Thompson said without turning around, "in your professional opinion, how advanced are these aliens compared to us?" Elena wiped tears from her eyes. "Based on what Dr. Wright recorded, they're centuries ahead of us in some areas. Their ships are massive. Their weapons are energy-based. But sir, there's something else. She activated a holographic display showing the alien ships from the broadcast. Look at their technology. It's advanced, but it's old. These ship designs look like they haven't changed in hundreds of years. They're comfortable. They think they're safe. What are you saying? Thompson asked. I'm saying they're not expecting a fight. They're used to species surrendering immediately. They've never faced determined resistance. Dr. Sarah Kim, the head of Earth's xenobiology program, stood up. There's more. I've been analyzing the biological data Dr. Wright sent. These 12 species they mentioned? They're not natural allies. Look at their genetic structures. She showed charts and graphs on the display. Each species has been genetically modified. The lizard-like saurids are warriors. The insect-like Clixians are workers. The gaseous Vorthak are administrators. Someone engineered them for specific roles. You mean they're slaves, General Stone said. Worse, they're designed slaves, bred and modified to serve the hegemony perfectly, which means the hegemony has been doing this for a very long time. President Thompson turned back to the room. How long do we have before they come to Earth? Unknown, sir, Elena said. But based on their technology, they could be here tomorrow or in 10 years. We have no way to know, Thompson nodded slowly. Then we prepare for war. General Stone, I'm putting you in charge of a new project. Codename Operation Alien Annihilation. You have unlimited resources. You have complete authority. Build me an army that can fight aliens. What about the people? Admiral Hayes asked. Do we tell them what happened? Thompson looked around the room at the faces of Earth's leaders. Military officers who had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity. Scientists who had dreamed of meeting other species peacefully. All of them had watched 10 billion humans die for the crime of existing. We tell them everything, Thompson said. Every detail. Every death. Every moment of suffering. Let them see what these aliens really are. Let them understand what's coming. The next morning, President Thompson addressed the world. Every television, every radio, every internet connection carried his message. The broadcast from the New Horizon played in full, unedited. The world watched in silence as Captain Chen died with dignity. They watched families separated forever. They watched Emma Rodriguez speak her final words. They watched Admiral Zethkar smile as he ordered the deaths of 10 billion innocent people. When the broadcast ended, Thompson spoke again. My fellow humans, he said, we are not alone in the universe, and we are not welcome. These aliens see us as nothing more than animals to be trained or slaughtered. They have given us a choice. Surrender our freedom or face extinction. He paused, looking directly into the camera. I choose neither. I choose war. I choose revenge. I choose to make these aliens pay for every life they took, for every child they murdered, for every dream they destroyed. The world erupted. Protests filled the streets, but not against the government. Against the aliens. People demanded action. They demanded weapons. They demanded the chance to fight back. Within weeks, every major nation had joined the Earth Defense Initiative. Factories converted to weapon production. Scientists worked around the clock on new technologies. Military recruitment offices had lines around the block. Dr. Kim made the breakthrough 6 months later. Using genetic samples Dr. Wright had secretly collected before his death, she developed something the galaxy had never seen. A targeted bioweapon that could be modified for each alien species. We call it the Genesis virus, she explained to the military council. It doesn't just kill them. It reverses their genetic modifications. It makes them remember what they were before the hegemony changed them. General Stone smiled for the first time since watching the broadcast. How long until we can deploy it? Give me 2 years, Dr. Kim said. 2 years to perfect it. 2 years to build delivery systems. 2 years to make sure it works on every species that serves the hegemony. You have whatever you need, Stone said. Earth transformed. The planet became a fortress. Orbital shipyards appeared in space. New weapons emerged from human ingenuity and human rage. The world united under a single purpose: make the aliens pay. Children learned alien biology in school alongside mathematics. Teenagers trained with weapons designed to kill specific alien species. Adults worked in factories producing ships built for only one purpose: revenge. Emma Rodriguez became a symbol. Her final words appeared on every military base, every spaceship, every weapon. Remember my name. Humanity would remember. Humanity would make sure the galaxy remembered too. 2 years after the broadcast, the first human warship launched from Earth's orbital shipyards. It was painted black and carried the names of every person who died on the New Horizon. 10 billion names covered its hull. The ship's name was simple: Revenge. The galaxy was about to learn what humans could do when you made them angry. 2 years after the New Horizon massacre, Earth looked like a different planet. Massive metal structures orbited the world like metal moons. Shipyards stretched across thousands of kilometers, building vessels that had never been designed for exploration or peace. These ships had one purpose: to kill aliens. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the stealth ship Retribution, watching her crew make final preparations. Elena had been 13 when her aunt and cousin died on the New Horizon. She had watched Emma Rodriguez speak her final words on that terrible broadcast. The little girl who shared her family name had become the reason Elena joined the military. Final systems check complete. "Captain," reported Lieutenant Chen, "all Genesis virus canisters are loaded and armed. Stealth systems are operating at maximum efficiency." Elena nodded. Behind her, the bridge crew worked in silent concentration. Each person had lost someone on the New Horizon. Each person had volunteered for this mission knowing they might not return. They didn't care. They wanted revenge. "Open communication to Earth Command," Elena ordered. General Stone's face appeared on the main screen. He looked older than his 55 years. The stress of building Earth's war machine had aged him quickly, but his eyes still burned with the same anger that had driven humanity for 2 years. "Retribution, this is your final mission briefing," Stone said. "Your target is Kepler 442b in the Clixian system. Intelligence reports 2 billion Clixians living in hive cities across the planet. They mine rare minerals for the hegemony. They are not civilians. They are part of the machine that murdered our people." Elena felt her jaw tighten. The Clixians were insect-like creatures, modified by the hegemony to be perfect. Workers. Dr. Kim's research showed they had once been a peaceful species before genetic modification turned them into tireless drones. "What about their defensive capabilities?" Elena asked. "Minimal," Stone replied. "The hegemony doesn't expect attacks on civilian worlds. They think fear keeps everyone in line. They think wrong. Your job is to prove that humanity doesn't stay afraid. We strike back." Stone's expression hardened. "Remember, Captain, this is not about mercy. This is not about honor. This is about sending a message. For every human they killed, we kill 1,000 of them. Make them afraid. Make them understand what they awakened." "Understood, sir," Elena said. "What about escape routes?" "Complete the mission first. Survival is secondary. If you die completing this mission, you will be remembered as heroes. If you survive, you will return to Earth and train others to do the same thing to other alien worlds." The communication ended. Elena turned to her crew. 25 humans, the best soldiers Earth had produced, each one carrying enough anger to fuel a star. "You heard the general," Elena said. "We're not going to Kepler 442b to make friends. We're going there to end lives, 2 billion lives. Any of you having second thoughts?" Sergeant Williams, whose entire family had died on the New Horizon, raised his hand. "Just one thought, Captain. 2 billion isn't enough," the crew laughed grimly. Elena smiled. "Then let's get started." The Retribution was humanity's most advanced creation. It used technology reverse-engineered from the alien ships that had destroyed the New Horizon, combined with human engineering that the aliens had never imagined. While alien ships were built for power and intimidation, human ships were built for stealth and efficiency. The journey to Kepler 442b took 18 days. The crew spent the time reviewing their mission, studying Clixian biology, and preparing the Genesis virus for deployment. Dr. Kim had worked for 2 years to create the perfect weapon. It would spread through the Clixian atmospheric systems, targeting their modified genetics and reverting them to their original form before killing them slowly. "It's not just death," Dr. Kim had explained during their briefing. "It's psychological warfare. They'll remember what they were before the hegemony changed them. They'll remember their original culture, their original dreams, right before they die. They'll understand what was stolen from them." Elena thought it was perfect. Let them die knowing the truth about their masters. When they arrived at Kepler 442b, the planet looked exactly like intelligence had predicted. Massive hive cities covered the surface, connected by transport tubes. Millions of Clixians moved through the structures like ants, mining and processing materials for their hegemony masters. "No orbital defenses," reported Navigation Officer Park. "No military ships in the system. They really don't expect anyone to attack them." Elena studied the planet through the ship's sensors, 2 billion aliens living their daily lives, never imagining that death was approaching from the stars. For a moment, she felt something that might have been guilt. Then she remembered Emma Rodriguez's final words. She remembered 10 billion humans dying for entertainment. The guilt disappeared. "Begin deployment," Elena ordered. The Retribution moved silently through space, releasing dozens of small stealth drones. Each drone carried Genesis virus canisters designed to integrate with the planet's atmospheric systems. The virus would spread naturally through the air, carried by wind patterns across the entire world. It took 6 hours to deploy all the drones. The Clixians never noticed. Their sensors were designed to detect large military ships, not tiny stealth drones built with human ingenuity. "Deployment complete," reported Weapons Officer Martinez. "All canisters are in position and armed. Should we activate them?" Elena hesitated for exactly 1 second. In that second, she thought about Mercy. She thought about the possibility that some of these aliens might be innocent. She thought about whether humanity should be better than their enemies. Then she thought about Captain Chen dying with dignity. She thought about families separated forever. She thought about children crying for parents who could not save them. "Activate," Elena said. Across Kepler 442b, the Genesis virus began its work. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The Clixians continued their daily routines, working in their hive cities, following the programming the hegemony had given them. Then the changes began. Dr. Kim had designed the virus to work slowly, giving Earth's ship time to escape before the effects became obvious. For 3 days, the Retribution monitored the planet from a safe distance while heading toward their extraction point. On the 4th day, the first reports came from the planet's surface. Clixians were collapsing in their work areas. Their modified genetic structure was breaking down, reverting to their original form, but their bodies couldn't handle the rapid changes. More importantly, their minds were changing too. As their genetics reverted, they began remembering things the hegemony had suppressed. They remembered their original culture. They remembered art, music, literature. They remembered what they had been before becoming worker drones. They remembered that they had once been free. The psychological impact was immediate and devastating. Across the planet, Clixians stopped working. They stared at their hands, remembering when they had created beautiful things instead of mining equipment. They looked at their hive cities and remembered forests and natural homes. Then they began to die. The virus killed them slowly, over several days, but it killed them as their original selves, not as the modified slaves the hegemony had created. In their final moments, they died as free beings remembering what freedom felt like. "Planet-wide communication systems are broadcasting distress signals," reported Communication Officer Thompson. "They're calling for help from the hegemony. Should we jam their signals?" Elena shook her head. "Let them call. Let the hegemony hear their subjects dying. Let them know that humans did this." By the 7th day, Kepler 442b was silent. 2 billion Clixians were dead. The planet's mining operations had stopped completely. The hegemony had lost one of their most productive worlds. Before leaving the system, Elena recorded a message and broadcast it across hegemony communication networks. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Retribution," she said, looking directly into the camera. "We have just killed 2 billion of your slaves. This is for the 10 billion humans you murdered on the New Horizon. This is for Emma Rodriguez, who was 8 years old when you killed her. This is for every child who cried for parents you separated from them." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We are coming for all of you. Every species that serves the hegemony. Every world that benefits from our people's deaths. We will not stop until you are all dead or until you kill every human in existence. But remember this. For every human you killed, we will kill 1,000 of you. We have started with 2 billion. We are just getting started," the message ended. The Retribution jumped to faster-than-light travel, heading back toward Earth to report their success and prepare for the next mission. Behind them, Kepler 442b drifted silent through space, a dead world that had once been home to billions of beings. It was humanity's first message to the galaxy. We remember our dead and we will have revenge. The war had begun. Admiral Zethkar stood in his command center on the hegemony capital world of Dominion Prime, staring at the reports flowing across his screens. 6 months had passed since the humans had destroyed Kepler 442b, and the attacks had not stopped. If anything, they were getting worse. "Report," he ordered his aide, a nervous Vorthak whose gaseous form flickered with anxiety. "Admiral, we've lost 17 worlds in the past month," the Vorthak said in its whispering voice. "The humans have hit mining colonies, agricultural worlds, even breeding centers. They're not following any logical military strategy. They're targeting civilian populations." Zethkar's claws scratched against the metal surface of his command table. When he had ordered the execution of the humans 6 years ago, he had been teaching the galaxy a lesson about hegemony power. It should have ended there. The humans should have submitted or hidden on their world in fear. Instead, they had become something the galaxy had never seen. A species that fought without honor, without rules and without mercy. "How many total casualties?" Zethkar asked. "Over 50 billion dead across 12 species," the aide replied. "The humans have weapons we've never encountered. Biological weapons that target specific genetic markers. Stealth ships that appear and disappear without warning. They're not trying to conquer territory. They're trying to exterminate us." Zethkar turned to look at the tactical display showing hegemony space. Red dots marked worlds that had gone silent after human attacks. There were so many red dots now that some areas of the map looked like pools of blood. "Where is the human fleet now?" he asked. "Unknown, Admiral. They don't travel in large formations like civilized species. They use small strike forces that hit multiple targets simultaneously. Our intelligence suggests they have at least 200 active ships, but they could have more." Admiral Jessica Kane stood on the bridge of the Earth destroyer Vengeance, watching the Saurid military base on Rigel 7 burn beneath them. The base had housed 50,000 Saurid soldiers and their families. Now it was a crater of melted metal and ash. "Target destroyed, Admiral," reported Captain Morrison. "No survivors detected." Jessica nodded coldly. 6 years ago, she had been a lieutenant commander in Earth's peaceful space exploration program, dreaming of meeting alien civilizations and sharing knowledge across the stars. Then the hegemony had broadcast the murder of her parents, who had been aboard the New Horizon as botanical researchers. Now she commanded Earth's most feared battle group, 12 ships designed for one purpose. Not conquest, not territory, just death. "Communication from the Retribution, Admiral," reported Communication Officer Davis. "Captain Rodriguez reports successful completion of her mission. The Clixian breeding world of Centauri 9 is sterilized. No survivors." "Excellent," Jessica said. "Send her coordinates for the next target. The Vorthak Administrative Center on Wolf 359. 2 billion targets." "Yes, ma'am," Davis replied. Jessica walked to the bridge windows and looked out at the stars. Somewhere among those lights were worlds full of aliens who served the species that had murdered her family. Every one of those worlds was a target. Every alien life was a debt to be collected. Her communication officer interrupted her thoughts. "Admiral, incoming message from Earth Command." General Stone's face appeared on the main screen. He looked exhausted but satisfied. Behind him, Jessica could see displays showing the locations of human strike forces across the galaxy. "Admiral Kane, situation report," Stone said. "Rigel 7 is eliminated, sir," Jessica replied. 50,000 Saurid military personnel and their families are dead. The base that trained soldiers for hegemony expansion is permanently removed from operation. Stone nodded approvingly. "Outstanding work. I have new intelligence for you. Hegemony forces are massing for a counterattack. They're finally taking us seriously." Jessica smiled grimly. "How many ships?"
3,000.
"The largest fleet they've assembled in centuries. They're planning to attack Earth directly. When do they arrive?" 6 months. Maybe less." Stone paused. "Jessica, I need to ask something difficult. We can recall all strike forces to defend Earth. Or we can continue the extermination campaign and let Earth take its chances. What's your recommendation?" Jessica thought about her parents, killed for the entertainment of aliens. She thought about Emma Rodriguez, 8 years old and defiant to the end. She thought about 10 billion humans whose only crime had been wanting to build a new life among the stars. "Continue the campaign," she said without hesitation. "If Earth falls, we make sure every alien in the galaxy dies with us. If we survive, we finish what they started." Stone smiled proudly. "My thoughts exactly. You have authorization to accelerate operations. Target anything that can support hegemony war efforts. Food production, medical facilities, shipyards, communications networks. Burn it all. The communication ended. Jessica turned to her crew, all of them volunteers who had lost someone on the new horizon. All of them carrying the same burning need for revenge that drove her. You heard the general, she said. The aliens are finally coming to fight us directly. But we have 6 months to make them regret that decision. 6 months to kill as many of them as possible before they reach Earth. Captain Morrison raised his hand. Admiral, what about the species that want to surrender? We've received dozens of requests from individual worlds asking to defect from the hegemony. Jessica's expression didn't change. Did they ask for mercy when they watched our people die? Did they object when the hegemony broadcast the execution of 10 billion humans for entertainment? No, ma'am, Morrison replied. Then they get the same mercy they showed us. None. Across the galaxy, human ships struck like ghosts. They appeared without warning, destroyed everything that lived, and vanished before help could arrive. The Vorthak administrative centers that coordinated hegemony logistics burned. The Clixian agricultural worlds that fed the Empire starved. The Saurid military academies that trained soldiers became graveyards. Species after species began to panic. The proud Makari, who had served the hegemony as engineers for 800 years, sent desperate messages offering total surrender and tribute. The humans sent back one word: no. The insectoid Ixari, who maintained hegemony communication networks, offered to sabotage their own systems in exchange for mercy. The humans destroyed their worlds anyway, then took over their communication networks to broadcast the executions. Dr. Sarah Kim, now director of Earth's Biological Warfare Division, created new variations of the Genesis virus for each species. Some versions worked quickly, killing in hours. Others worked slowly, causing weeks of agony as the victims remembered what they had been before the hegemony modified them. The psychological impact is just as important as the deaths, she explained to a gathering of Earth's military leaders. When they die remembering their original selves, it spreads fear among the survivors. They start questioning their loyalty to the hegemony. Some species are already showing signs of rebellion. General Stone studied the reports from across the galaxy. In 6 months of unrestricted warfare, humanity had killed over 200 billion aliens. Entire species were nearing extinction. The hegemony's infrastructure was collapsing. How many worlds are left? He asked. Approximately 400 still under hegemony control, Kim replied. But many are in open revolt. The humans have broken the fear that held the Empire together for 1,000 years. Stone nodded with satisfaction. And our casualties? Minimal. We've lost 17 ships and approximately 4,000 personnel. The stealth technology and biological weapons give us overwhelming advantages. Excellent. Continue operations. When the hegemony fleet reaches Earth, I want them to find a species that has already conquered their empire. On Dominion Prime, Admiral Zethkar received the final report that changed everything. The humans had just destroyed the hegemony's primary shipyard at Altair 4, along with the 300 partially completed warships it contained. 200,000 hegemony personnel had died in the attack. Sir, his aide whispered, the Council of Species is requesting an emergency meeting. They want to discuss terms. Zethkar's yellow eyes blazed with fury. Terms with primitives? With animals? Sir, they've killed over 200 billion of our people. Our infrastructure is collapsing. Several species are talking about abandoning the hegemony entirely. Zethkar slammed his clawed fist into the command table, leaving deep scratches in the metal. 6 years ago, he had thought he was teaching the galaxy about hegemony power. Instead, he had awakened something far worse than any enemy they had ever faced. The humans didn't fight for territory or resources. They fought for revenge, and they would never stop fighting until every alien in the galaxy was dead. Prepare the fleet, Zethkar ordered. We end this at their homeworld. We kill every human that exists. His aide hesitated. Sir, what if we lose? Zethkar's tongue flicked out between his sharp teeth. Then the galaxy will belong to monsters we created. The largest fleet in galactic history began moving toward Earth. 3,000 ships carrying the combined military might of 12 species, all focused on destroying the one species that refused to submit. They had no idea they were already too late. The humans had already won. They just didn't know it yet. 5 years after the battle for Earth, President Maria Santos stood in the observation deck of humanity's new capital ship, the Emma Rodriguez. Through the reinforced windows, she could see the ruins of Dominion Prime, former capital of the Galactic Hegemony. The planet's surface was scarred with craters where the great alien cities had once stood. Final report. Madam President, said General Stone, now in his 70s but still carrying the fire that had driven humanity's war of revenge. Hegemony resistance has ended. Admiral Zethkar was found dead in his command bunker 3 days ago. Suicide, according to our investigators. Santos nodded, feeling no satisfaction from the news. The alien who had ordered the death of 10 billion humans had taken the coward's way out, rather than face human justice. She would have preferred to execute him personally. What about the other species? She asked. Scattered. Broken. Most are hiding in the outer rim of the galaxy, trying to rebuild their original cultures before the hegemony modified them. The few groups that surrendered are confined to designated worlds under human supervision. Santos walked to the tactical display showing the entire galaxy. Most of it was colored blue now, representing human control. Small pockets of red showed where alien survivors still lived, carefully watched by human monitoring stations. How many of them are left? She asked. Stone consulted his datapad. Approximately 50 million aliens across all species, down from over 3 trillion before the war began. The Genesis virus and our extermination campaigns were highly effective. Santos studied the numbers without emotion. 50 million aliens left alive out of 3 trillion. In mathematical terms, humanity had killed 98.3% of the galaxy's intelligent life. In human terms, they had delivered justice for the new horizon. Any signs of rebellion among the survivors? None, Stone replied. They're too busy trying to remember how to be their original selves. Dr. Kim's virus didn't just kill their people. It broke their entire social structure. They remember what they were before the hegemony, but they don't know how to be that anymore. Dr. Sarah Kim, now elderly but still sharp, joined them at the observation deck. She had spent the last 5 years perfecting humanity's biological weapons, creating viruses that could target any species that might threaten Earth in the future. The psychological impact was greater than we expected, she said. When the modified species reverted to their original genetics, they lost not just their enhanced abilities but also the cultural knowledge the hegemony had programmed into them. They're like children trying to rebuild civilizations they barely remember. Santos turned away from the tactical display. What about our own casualties? Final count, 8,000 humans killed in action during the entire war, Stone reported. Mostly from the initial battles before we perfected our stealth technology and biological weapons. 8,000 humans dead. 3 trillion aliens dead. It was the most one-sided war in galactic history. Madam President, Kim said carefully, I have something to show you. We've been monitoring communications from the Andromeda galaxy. Santos raised an eyebrow. Andromeda? That's 2.5 million light-years away. Yes, but we've detected organized radio signals. Complex patterns that suggest advanced civilization, possibly multiple civilizations. Santos felt a familiar chill run down her spine. After 5 years of ruling a conquered galaxy, the thought of new aliens made her instinctively reach for her sidearm. How advanced? She asked. Unknown, but the signals suggest they have at least radio technology, possibly more, and the communication patterns indicate they might be working together, like some kind of alliance or federation. Santos looked back at the ruins of Dominion Prime. 5 years ago, humanity had been a single species dreaming of peaceful contact with alien civilizations. Now they were galactic overlords who ruled through fear and controlled the largest military force in the galaxy's history. Do they know about us? She asked. Unlikely, Kim replied. Our war was contained to the Milky Way. Radio signals would take millions of years to reach Andromeda, but what? But if they have faster-than-light technology, they might eventually explore this galaxy, and when they do, they'll find us. Santos walked to another window that showed Earth's massive orbital shipyards. Even 5 years after the war ended, humanity continued building warships. They had learned the lesson of the new horizon. Never again would humans be defenseless. What's our current military strength? Santos asked. General Stone smiled proudly. 5,000 active warships, each one designed with technology we captured from the hegemony and improved with human engineering. 20,000 stealth destroyers like the Retribution, 50 orbital defense platforms around Earth, biological weapons that can target any conceivable alien physiology. And our industrial capacity? Every human world is now a fortress. We have mining operations on 1,000 planets, all protected by automated defense systems. Our population has grown to 12 billion, and military service is mandatory for all citizens. Santos nodded with satisfaction. Humanity had learned from their near extinction. Every human child now learned alien biology alongside mathematics. Every teenager trained with weapons designed to kill non-human life. Every adult understood that the price of survival was eternal vigilance. There's something else, Kim said hesitantly. We've been studying the genetic modifications the hegemony made to their subject species. We could do the same thing to ourselves. Santos turned sharply. Explain. We could enhance human strength, speed, intelligence. We could modify ourselves to be perfect soldiers, perfect engineers, perfect leaders. We could become what the hegemony tried to create, but better. Santos stared at the scientist for a long moment. You want to turn humans into the same kind of modified slaves the hegemony created? Not slaves, Kim said quickly. Enhanced humans who choose their modifications. Soldiers who are stronger and faster. Scientists who are more intelligent. Engineers who can work in any environment. We could become the perfect species. Santos walked back to the tactical display showing their conquered galaxy. The blue areas representing human control seemed to pulse with possibility and threat. No, she said finally. We stay human. Our strength isn't in genetic modification. It's in our anger, our determination, our refusal to accept defeat. The moment we start changing what we are, we become something else. Kim looked disappointed but nodded. Stone seemed relieved. What are your orders regarding Andromeda? Stone asked. Santos studied the star charts showing the distant galaxy. Somewhere out there, alien civilizations were going about their daily lives, completely unaware that the Milky Way was now controlled by a species that had committed the largest genocide in galactic history. We prepare, she said. We build ships capable of intergalactic travel. We develop weapons that can work across the void between galaxies. And we establish one simple principle. Any alien species that threatens humanity will be exterminated completely. She turned to face her advisors. The architects of humanity's transformation from peaceful explorers to galactic conquerors. The aliens in this galaxy made a mistake 6 years ago. They thought they could murder 10 billion humans and intimidate us into submission. Instead, they taught us that the only safe alien is a dead alien. Santos activated the communication system that would broadcast her words to every human world. Every military base, every ship in space. Citizens of the human empire, she said, her voice carrying across the galaxy to 12 billion humans living on conquered alien worlds. Today marks 5 years since we avenged the New Horizon. 5 years since we proved that humanity will never bow to alien oppression. She paused, looking out at the ruins of the alien capital. But our work is not finished. We have detected signs of alien civilizations in other galaxies. They do not know about us yet, but someday they will. When that day comes, they will face the same choice the hegemony faced. Leave humanity alone, or face extinction. Santos walked to a memorial wall showing the names of every human who had died on the New Horizon. 10 billion names covered the entire wall, but Emma Rodriguez's name was highlighted in gold at the center. We remember our dead, Santos said. We remember the price of weakness. We remember what happens when aliens think they can murder humans for entertainment. And we promise that no alien species will ever again threaten human life. The communication ended. Across the galaxy, humans returned to their work building the greatest military force in the universe's history. Ships capable of crossing the void between galaxies. Weapons capable of destroying entire star systems. Biological viruses capable of targeting any conceivable alien physiology. General Stone joined Santos at the memorial wall. Do you think we've become monsters? He asked quietly. Santos looked at Emma Rodriguez's name, remembering the 8-year-old girl who had died with dignity while aliens laughed at her suffering. Maybe, she said, but we're alive monsters, and every alien in the universe knows what happens when you try to make humanity extinct. Outside the ship, the Emma Rodriguez continued its patrol of human space, watching for any sign of alien activity. Its weapons were armed and ready. Its crew was trained to kill any non-human life they encountered. Behind it, 1,000 other ships spread across the galaxy, all carrying the same message. Humanity remembers. Humanity does not forgive.